Alright, in this video, I'm not really going to be writing code for you. What I want to do is just to really explain what I'm talking about here. This is a little bit different. It's talking about functions, and that you've used functions or methods before whenever we're using the document write. That's a method. So we send it some information, and that is what do we want to print, and then it prints it for us because it has all that code. Here we're going to create our own. So you can see it's called function child output, and you can name it anything. I just called it that because that's really what it is. It's outputting the child names. And then what are we going to be bringing in? So I need to place some memory to store, and what I'm going to be doing is sending in an array. And in fact, let me backtrack a little bit here. Yeah. Let's go back to this, the one before that. And when we got down to the bottom of the code, you can see that we had document write list of girls' names, and then we had a for loop, and the for loop took in child names, and then outputted it. Then we had this just to show us that we finished with that when we're going on to the next. And then we did the boys' names with another for loop, exactly the same. The only difference between the two of those is the fact that this is for girls and this is for boys. And if we had, say we had mammals on Earth, we might have 300 arrays all listing different mammals. And we wouldn't want to write 300 for loops just to output that information. So instead we create a function. So in the next lesson what we're going to do is we're going to take these two for loops, make a function that has a for loop in it, and then just use that. So let's go back now to what I was talking about before. So you can see this one has the for loop, and it has the document write. So in this one, we're going to bring in either the girl name array or the boy name array and stick it in here. Then it's going to go through this for loop, and we can see that I'm just using the number. We could remember use something different for the for loop on the last one. So in this one we use counter, girl counter and boy counter. I'm using something different here just to keep the names straight because it can be confusing if we use the same names for two different things. So I'm just using the number here. It starts with 0. It figures out how long the array is. So if there's 10 girl names and 5 boys names, this will work just fine because it brings in that either 5 or 10 and compares it to where we're incrementing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're incrementing again here. This is where we're changing from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. All right. Down here I have something called display number. And that's the counter we were using before. I'm using the number, but the reason why I have to increment by 1 before I put it in there is that the number starts with 0, and I certainly don't want it numbered 0, 1, 2, 3 because other humans won't understand that. So this is going to start with the number 1, and I do that just by creating another place in memory called display number, taking in whatever this number is, and then just adding 1 to it to keep us on track like a real human. Then down here, we're going to say take the display number. So the first one, the number is 0. We added 1 to it, so it's going to be 1 dot space space. And then here, we're going to take the first name in the array. So if it was a boy's name, Tom would be in there. Then we'd go around again. We only do this once. And it just sits out here. So this is all written at the top of our page. And then this is where the rest of our JavaScript. So it's 2 separate programs. This is independent of this right here. We can even take this, put it in a separate file, and have 5 or 6 different programs all calling it. And whenever we want to output, we're going to be using the child output function. And I can call that anything. So here's the way we did the last program, and very similar to that. We're bringing in a new name, and then we're using push to put it into the next blank array box. And here we're just outputting it just so we can see what we're doing every time it goes around. We always use these outputs within our loops just so that we can make sure that it's working as it goes through. Then we're sorting it here, And then down here, so you can see we're using a method here also. We're saying that take this array and sort it. And then the argument here would be ascending or descending if we want to use it. Ascending is the default value, so we don't have to put anything in there if we didn't want. Down here, I'm going to have the first document right, just like I did in the other program. But instead of a for loop, I'm going to say, I want you to call the child output function, and I want to send it girl child names array. So it's going to take this array, send it on up to the top, run it through here, and it's going to output all the stuff we need. Then it's going to move down. So right here is just like it went from here to here. It sorted one, then sorted the other. Here, it's going to go ahead and send it that function. Then we're going to get an alert that says, okay, we're on to the next one. And then we're going to get this next one where it says boys list names. That's in our main code. And then it's going to take boil child names and send it to child output. So that's what functions are all about. It's not having to rewrite the code over and over again. Instead, we create one piece of code and just call it. And we've been doing that. We've been doing that with prompt. We've been doing it with alert. We've been doing it with push. We've been doing it. So all these are different methods and functions that we can call because the code is the same each time we go around. So hopefully this helps you a little bit by hearing my voice and having me explain it rather than just trying to read it and going, what? But hopefully this helped.